Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Break's over, and I'm back. Thank you for waiting on me. Appreciate that. So far, how do you like my seminar? I hope you're enjoying it, and I hope you're absorbing everything. Now, you know, the only regrets I have, guys, is I wish we could have done this live. I would have loved to see each and every one of your faces out in a crowd. But because of the way things are today, I can't make that happen, so that's why I'm doing it via video. I do want you to know that you guys will be the first and only ones to view this seminar. My gift to you. Now, I got a very important subject, I should say a topic that I want to go over with you guys. Now, some of you are aware now and some may not, but part of my research has to do with human nature. And what do I mean by that? Basically, the substance that as human beings we are made up of. Okay? I've already explained to you before that it's basically connected and linked to these early hybrids, or I should say these early hominids, specifically Erectus edigaster. The hybrids that are considered about right now, they are nothing other than descendants of these early hominids I just mentioned. Which even on my board right here, I've already explained this to you guys, I believe it was in 2018. These are my timelines for extinction, hybrids, crossbreeding, timeline, origins. Right in here. According to the experts, Erectus edigaster, Erectus went into an extinction about 108,000 years ago, and Edigaster about 70,000 years ago. But here's the deal. They didn't go into total extinction. I've already proven it. The evidence I've showed you right there. Now, even in all this, these are living things, so they are human nature, as well as us. Okay? Now, what happens when you take human nature and manipulate it? Sometimes good things come out of it. Most of the time, bad things come out of it. So, just by opening up with that, I'm going to tell you a little story. And I want you to listen to this story very, very carefully. Now, I'm a stickler for history. Always have been. One of my favorite subjects. I love biblical history, world history, and of course, one of my big favorites, military history. Now, we're going to go into manipulating human nature. I'm going to take you back about a couple thousand years ago, where in my opinion, probably the greatest civilization ever known to man in its time was the Roman Empire. Now, the Roman Empire was far more advanced than any civilization in its time. That is a fact. I would say the only competition the Roman Empire had were the Greeks. But on this segment, I leave the Greeks out of it because this has to do with human manipulation. So, what does the Roman Empire have to do with human manipulation? Simply this. At one time, The Roman Empire was the most powerful empire of the whole planet. It conquered more countries than any other civilization ever had. It had the most powerful army on the planet. She was full of wealth. It had a good economic growth. It basically had everything going for it. All the citizens of Rome, they prospered. Everybody was happy campers. Then one day something happened. One of the emperors had to be replaced. And he was replaced by a particular fella whose name was Nero. If anybody out there knows the story of Nero, you know what he had done. What Nero did is he manipulated the people of Rome. He took advantage of human nature by manipulating them. And through his manipulation, what did he create? He created diversity. The citizens of Rome were not experiencing prosperity anymore. The wealth that they had was gone. Economics went into a shambles. And even the most powerful army in the world at that time was in disarray and diversity. He ruled Rome through tyranny, oppression, and pure manipulation. And what did he create? Chaos. He created pure chaos. The Roman people, their freedom was infringed upon. All their prosperities were gone. Everything that they worked for was gone. And why was that? Because they chose the wrong type of leader. This guy believed he was an emperor, a king, and most of all, he thought he was a god. And he played with people's lives. What did the Roman people end up doing? They revolted. You're not going to take our freedom away. You're not going to manipulate us like this. You're not taking no more from us. And so the people of Rome turned on Rome itself. And thus, as the old story of history says, as Nero peered out and watched Rome burn and burn and burn all through the night. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the beginning and the end of the most powerful civilization ever created of our time. That is our history. History is probably one of the biggest parts of us as a human species. We are part of that history. You can't run from it, you can't hide from it, it's with us, it's within us. History, in my opinion, is the most wonderful thing any human being can study. You see, what history really is, it's there for us to learn from. No more, no less. It's for us to learn from. And the problem is, because of the arrogance of modern man, he has crapped all over history. He hasn't learned a damn thing. Now, you understand what happened to the Roman Empire. Flashpoint, year 2020, modern man. I want every one of you to get up and take a hard look of all around you. What is going on today in your lives? Have you not been manipulated? Have you not been lied to? Have you not been put in a sense of fear? Have you not? Yes, you have. I know, because I'm living myself. I experienced all this. That's why I brought up the Roman Empire. Because of what's going on around the globe today in our society as modern human species. Well, I could just say this. It just might be the beginning and the end of us. Have we not learned anything? Because what I see right now is today we are the Roman Empire. And if you think that I'm full of baloney, better think twice. Because what I just told you is a factual truth. End of story. So, that ends that topic on manipulation of human nature. Now we get down to the nitty-gritty. Guys, ready for the questions? Well, I need my reading gear on, and we'll get down with some questions. Okay? All right. Let's see. Here's one of the questions I selected, and this is coming from Peter. Hello, Peter. Thank you for sending me your question. Okay, here's the question. If one group of Sasquatch is displaced by a forest fire, will they go to war with another group over territory? That's a good question. That's basically where I'm at right now with the fighter refugee family that so happens to be in with the South and the North Side group, which are territorial. That, I could really answer that for you, Peter, is when I come across some evidence that say such a thing has happened. In my opinion, hopefully they'll get along. And my guess is, I believe most likely they will probably get along. And then again, it just depends on, it also depends on the new refugees, how they interact when they're in someone else's territory. If they don't become by intimidating the other groups or being aggressive with the other groups, I think they most likely they would probably get along. There's your answer, Peter. Now, just give me a second, guys. All right. And we got some questions from Donna and Anthony. And I selected three questions. Question number 1. Does Bigfoot live under the ground or in caves, or do they make huts from branches? Donna and Anthony, through my own research, I know for a fact that they definitely live under the ground. Okay? They do construct shelters above the ground. These are temporary dwellings, and that's all they're used for. Okay? And the dwellings they do construct above the ground, yes, they use different types of debris from the forest. Branches, tree trunks, any kind of debris they can get a hold of, and they put these things together. Second question. Are you going to pursue the big gray one you saw? Nah, Don and Anthony, I leave that big guy alone. This guy's huge. He is the biggest. He's the biggest one that I have ever saw so far in my research career. I've seen some big ones. This guy takes the cake. He is huge. And of course, with his salt and pepper hair, when one does see the size of this guy and you get a first a glance of him, I mean, you would automatically say Yeti, but it's not. Okay. No, this guy, I leave him alone. Number one, you really don't want to pursue something like this. Take it from me. If you value your life, you leave him alone. Okay? Observe him from a distance. Okay. Question number 3. Does Bigfoot use camouflage to blend in with the forest? Don and Anthony, these hybrids, they are their own camouflage. They are chameleons in the forest. Okay? They are experts in evading and stealth. They use their own natural being as camouflage. And like I said, they are experts at it, and that's all they need to conceal themselves. There you go, Don and Anthony. There's the answer to your questions. Last set of questions. This is from Marissa. And there's 3 questions I selected. Question number 1. Does Bigfoot see humans as a threat? If not, why do they do not want to interact or be seen by humans? Now that's a good question, Marissa. You see, because for thousands of years, these hybrids have been watching us. You see, we've been living side by side. So they've basically been living under our nose all this time. Which goes to show you how evasive they really are. Now, do they take us as a threat? Yes, they do. And why is that? They have seen us too many times, how we interact with each other, what we do to other animals. Oh yes, you damn straight they take us as a threat. Sometimes as an extreme threat. They also know what a weapon is. They know what a gun is. They know what a rifle is. I know this through my own experiences. That's one reason I don't carry a rifle no more. I only carry a sidearm. And specifically for protection reasons. Yes, they are they're very cautious about us. Period. They don't trust us a bit. Okay? And they have good reason. Look what we've turned into. Do you blame them? If I was one of them, I wouldn't come up and shake your hand either. It's that simple. I wouldn't trust none of you. They got good reason. Okay, question number 2. Do different types of Bigfoot have different nutritional needs? Well, they're pretty much, in the Sierra Nevada mountains, these hybrids are pretty much well linked and connected to each other. They are related to each other, okay? They pretty much will have the same type of diet. For the exception for the ones that would live off the coastal areas, say like the North Pacific West Coast. The only addition they add to their diet there is because they're off an ocean. So they have a little bit of a seafood menu. Crustaceans. They love clams, which they can find them right off the beaches. And of course, particular types of fish, if they can get a hold of some. And that's about the only additional item that might come into their diets. Okay? Question number 3. In your opinion, do you think humans and Bigfoot will ever live peaceful side by side? Well, Marissa, actually, we pretty much well been living peaceful side by side because we've been living side by side with each other for thousands and thousands of years. And is it like that? Will they'll ever come out of the forest and shake your hand or whatever, and say, hey, could we be buddies or whatever? We could be friends. That's not going to happen. You know, what you need to understand is this, guys, and I've said this before. Although they have a Homo sapien connection, and the fact that they are early hominins, they're basically are just going to stay with that particular situations because it's better for them to be left alone so they can go ahead and just survive in the way they know how to survive, what they've been doing for thousands of years. So that day probably is never going to happen. And I also want you to know this, that even though they do have that part Homo sapien in it, look they still have a big component on them that they're still, how would I put it, an animal. They have that animal instinct that's inside them. We have it too, part of the human nature. But you have to understand, it's not like they're domestic. They're not completely docile, okay? So, that day, Marissa, it just won't happen. I think it's just about as good as it's going to get between us two. Okay? But I will say this. One last thought. Look at guys. As a species, we need to really pull it back together. You see, because I'm going to tell you right now what's going to happen. These hybrids will be here after we're gone. And that's a fact. I would say in the survival world, they got a hell of a lot better chance of making it than we do at this point in time. My suggestion is to the human race is they really need to pull it together and understand about what you're really made up of. Okay? Because we're all related, we all got the same. We all have the same components. So, that's about it, guys. I'm going to wrap up my seminar. I hope you liked it. I enjoyed being here with you guys. And like I said, the only regret I have is I wish this was live. I was thinking, I was talking to somebody the other day, if I do another seminar, if it's still to the point where I can't do it in front of a live crowd, I'm thinking about maybe doing something on Zoom. We'll figure it out. I'll work on it. But first of all, I want to know if you guys want me to do another one. Because I got a whole lot locked up here. I could give it out to you, believe me. I'm just packing knowledge. So, hey guys, from me to you, y'all take care. Y'all behave. I hope you found this seminar very informative. I hope you love the evidence I pointed out to you. Until next time I'll see you, I'll be right back up in the woods. So until then, hey guys, you take care. You know me, I gotta go. Goodbye.